Welcome back to the 411 Podcasting Network. I am your host, Larry Csonka, and this is episode 53 of the 411 on Wrestling Podcast. You can follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and of course the 411mania.com website. Please make sure to subscribe and share the show around on social media. Leave us a 5-star review if you have time, and thank you for your continued support of the show. Joining me today, as always, is my co-host, Jeremy Lambert. Jeremy, how are you tonight?
I'm well, Larry. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I had a pretty relaxing day for once. Went out to Japanese dinner with the family, had a lovely American dream roll, and I'm pretty happy right now, so relaxed for once.
Did you watch the Steelers game?
Fuck no. The NFL season hasn't started yet. I refuse to believe it.
Yeah, I felt that way until today when my team actually won, but I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's what a horrible mess for my team this year. Yeah, it's not good, but oh well, I don't know. No, I watched a little bit of football in the afternoon while I took a nap and stuff like that. It's just it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
Can't have good seasons all the time. I've been spoiled largely through my life as a Steelers fan, so.
It happens. Every team's got to go through that down phase. Unless you're the Patriots, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Fuck those guys, yeah. So.
That's a fair assessment, yeah.
It is time again to talk about the wrestling, Jeremy. We got tons of stuff to talk about as always, some fun stuff, and I think we'll have a good time as always. We're going to start off with some New Japan Pro Wrestling here. Had the Destruction in Kobe event, and we started off with a tag team match in Nagata, Tsuji Uemura defeating Nakanishi, Coughlin, and Michael Richards in your perfectly solid dads take your kids to work opener.
Yep, it was your, as you said, typical dads and young lions match. Nothing out of the ordinary, but did what it needed to do. Yeah, I like the debate that Kevin Kelly and who's the Gino Gambino had the debate on how to say Coughlin's last name. Is it Coughlin or Coughlin?
Yes, they spent a fair amount of time on that. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So then we kicked into the Young Lions Cup final 2 matches. Clark Connors defeated your boy Ren Narita at 7:25 via submission. They had a good match. Obviously, Ren Narita has been really good for a while now. Clark Connors has also shown that he's really good. Future's bright for both guys, and that took Narita out of the running for the Young Lions Cup.
Once they had the order set and Shooter and Fredericks was the second match, you knew it was going to come down to that. So not too surprising that Narita ended up dropping this match. It's a terrible call. He should have won the entire thing, but what can you do?
Yeah. So the next match was for the whole Young Lions Cup, winner take all. LA Dojo Lion Carl Fredericks defeated Shooter Umino at 7:30 via submission. Another good match. Fredericks was one of the favorites heading in, but a somewhat surprising win over Shooter Umino, because I think a lot of people felt that he and Narita were the big favorites. But I think it's a fine choice for a winner, because you solidify the LA Dojo, you give it a little bit of a respectability rate off, and Carl Fredericks has been good. He definitely has a good look, good size, and he's somebody that I can see them doing a lot with in the future.
I think going with Shooter was the obvious thing, and they kind of wanted to almost stay away from that, because Shooter, he doesn't need this Young Lions Cup. It's a cool accolade, but the guy's teaming with Jon Moxley throughout the summer. He's pretty made at this point. So you give it to Fredericks. As you said, it helps establish that LA Dojo into a more viable, on the same level as the New Japan Dojo. So it gives that a prestige boost a little bit. Overall, I was fine with this call. And the match was fine.
Yeah, so no problem with it. So we moved into our undercard tags. The Bullet Club team of Bad Luck Fale, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owens defeated Makabe, Hanma, and Hanar 8 minutes and 20 seconds via pin. It wasn't good. It moved at a glacial pace. Felt like it aged me 10 years. Makabe actually did take a bump in this, though, so credit to him.
I watched this match this morning, and I don't remember anything about it.
That's probably good, because it would scar you if you did.
I just remember them talking about, who's going to be teams for World Tag League and Super Junior Tag League. That's all I remember about this match.
They started talking World Tag League, and I started to die a little bit inside. So, that's such a slog to get through. But, so we were supposed to move on to tag team action. Tanahashi, Liger, Tiger Mask, and Rocky Romero facing off against Zack Sabre Jr., Minoru Suzuki, Kanemaru, and Doki. And, we did not get a match, Jeremy. We got one of the coolest fucking angles of the year instead. Because after months of Suzuki and Liger battling and brawling and Suzuki being a complete asshole and unmasking Liger and attacking him before matches and after matches, Jushin Liger had enough. Suzuki's making his entrance. Everybody's rocking to Kazunino Ray. Liger attacks, starts beating his ass. Everybody from the team starts slowly coming out. We get the big brawl. Suzuki ends up getting a table, hits Liger with a chair shot to the head, and I'm waiting for all the chair shot truthers to come out on that one, but nobody said anything. Everybody had to rake Sean Spears over the fucking coals, but Suzuki does a chair shot and everybody's like, nah, it's fine.
That was weird. I mean, I agree. I figured we would talk about it, but I didn't see anything about this online on Twitter, and it's probably because more people were watching AEW, at least live, but it was, and I guess it's because it's part of the Japanese culture. It's just like, all right, it's fine. The same thing with like Ibushi and Naito and all these guys, and even Kenta like getting dropped on their head, and it's like, okay, this is cool. It's Japan, but I didn't care for that chair shot. It was clearly gimmicked. Like the chair broke, but the AEW chair was gimmicked as well. Spears just fucked it up because he cut Cody in the back of the head with the headrest on the chair. So it was clearly a gimmick chair, which fine, but just don't do that shit. Like, just stay away from that. And Liger didn't get his hands up to protect himself, and unnecessary.
Yeah, but I was waiting for all the chair shot truthers to come out, and probably because it was such an early show, because it did start at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, and more people watching AEW live, like you said. But yeah, I was waiting for that one, but yeah, it was weird. So anyway, they brawl into the ring. Liger's trying to fight off Suzuki. Suzuki starts choking him out, and Liger low blows him. And this was after Suzuki tried to remove his mask. And this is when shit got real, Jeremy. Because Liger decides, he goes, all right, fucker, you want to rip off my mask? He takes off his mask, Jeremy, and he reveals that he is Kishin fucking Liger again. With the face paint, he starts ripping off his top, and my man Liger at age 54 is in really good fucking shape still. Looked awesome, and he was fired the fuck up. Starts beating on Suzuki, he mists him in the referee, lays him against the table, grabs a spike and tries to end this man's life. Suzuki ends up escaping as Liger charges him. He sticks the spike through the table, which looked so awesome. And Suzuki was basically cowering away on his ass, trying to get the hell out of there, looking afraid for the first time in this feud. Kishin fucking Liger, it was awesome. For those of you that don't know, this goes back to 1996. Ironically enough, I guess, in Kobe, when Liger was feuding with the Great Muta. And Kishin Liger is, I guess to make a modern comparison, he's kind of like the demon version of Jushin Liger. Like, when shit gets real, he will break out Kishin Liger. And this is, I believe, like the third time he's done it in his career.
It's the fourth.
What?
It's the fourth.
Is it the fourth?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was not many.
Yeah, it was 96 with Muta. I think 2002. I wrote about it earlier today, but 2002, somewhere in that range. And I forget who it was, but it was somebody who's like no longer really wrestling. And he did it again with Taichi in like 2016, something like that. So yeah, it's a fourth time overall. And I'll actually double check all this to make sure I'm correct on what the information I'm giving. But I know it's the fourth time overall.
Okay, fair enough. But still, something rarely used. So it's the demon version of the Beast God Thunder Liger, and it looked great. Got over big, and again, this feud has been fucking so cool. Jeremy, I'm so ready for this match.
Okay, so here's what it is. 96 against Muda, 2006 against Bad Boy Hidu, and 2012 against Tai Chi. Those were the 3 other times he broke out Kishin Liger prior to Sunday against Suzuki. And yeah, this angle was awesome. And I looked it up. Essentially, Kishin is when you go into a different form to devour souls. That's what this is in manga terms. And manga is like Japanese comic stuff. My wife could probably better explain this, and more apt fans could better explain this, but that's the simple version for those out there. So yeah, this angle ruled. Suzuki even made mention of this last week when he ripped off Liger's mask. He even said, like, I want the real Liger. Yeah, the guy is just a bastard under a mask. Like, I want the real thing, and he fucking got him. And Liger came up as Kishin Liger and was ready to kill this man with the spike. That was an awesome visual, the spike going through the table. I really like that spot, because if Suzuki's just in the corner and he does it and he misses, like, okay, he just missed. But because there was the table there and you saw the spike go through the table, it left a more lasting impression as a visual aid there. So I really like that. The whole angle was awesome. Liger felt the need to go into this bag because he had to, this is how you combat Minoru Suzuki. And Suzuki played this really well. Like, oh, fuck, like, what did I get myself into? So, yeah, this angle ruled. I've seen people compare it to Demon Balor, and I understand, like, it's sort of the best modern comparison you can throw out there. At the same time, Demon Balor ain't got shit on this, because this is the
Demon Balor is just a fucking entrance compared to this, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is the 4th time he's broken this out in like a 30-year career, and Demon Balor just kind of, and he's had a reason for it every single time. Like, he's been pushed to it. Demon Balor gets broken out because it's WrestleMania and he wants to face Bobby Lashley.
And the Saudi Arabians pay for it.
Right. So, yeah, this angle ruled. I cannot wait for this match. I know they can't save it until the Tokyo Dome. I guess they could. It feels like such a Tokyo Dome match, though. It feels like this should be Liger's. I mean, Tokyo Dome is 2 nights. You do this night 1, and then night 2, you do whatever the hell Liger wants for his final match. But this angle just has so much behind it that it just feels like a big Wrestle Kingdom match.
It does. It's been awesome, and I've enjoyed it. Like I said, just from the basic brawling they do during the matches to the pre-match, the post-match stuff. And like I said, on the Road 2 tour, they did that awesome angle where Suzuki attacked him when he was on commentary. And then on the earlier in the Destruction tour here, where they did the angle where he ripped off his mask and he was like celebrating in the corner with Liger's mask in his mouth, and just, it's all been done so well. And Suzuki has been just slowly egging him on, trying to, like you said, bring out the real Liger, and be careful what you wish for, brother, because he got it, and it was awesome. So excited.
I'm pumped for this. Like, this show needed something overall, because we'll talk about the rest of it. This was my biggest takeaway from this show is Kishin Liger. Like, nothing else seemed to matter to me.
Yeah, oh no, it was awesome. It was great. There was one match I really, really liked on this show, and then there was this angle. And It was just so great. But yeah, it's I had to use the image as my header image for the review, because it was just not going to get many more opportunities to do stuff like that, Right,
yeah. This angle ruled. Cannot wait for this match. I assume, I hope they don't put it on King of Pro Wrestling, honestly, because that's a pretty stacked card as it is. Like, you can headline with Liger and Suzuki. It's a headlining match. That's how good it is. If you're not going to put it on the Tokyo Dome, it's obviously not going to headline the Tokyo Dome. But if you're not going to headline, or if you're not going to put it on the Wrestle Kingdom shows, you can headline a show with this match.
Yeah, and I love the fact that in, like, 2019, I am still getting pumped the fuck up for Kishin Liger. It is just, like, so cool, because, Liger, like, early on in my tape trading stuff, is like Liger was one of those dudes, because, like, Muta was kind of like the gateway because he worked the NWA on TV and everything. And then when I got into the tape trading, all I heard about was like, Liger was one of the guys I heard about early on. And then like, it was like, you see Liger early on, you're just like, Jesus Christ, it was like so cool. And the fact that like later on in his career, like he's had like, bangers with Kushida and Ishimori and stuff like that. And he's having one of the best fucking angles and feuds in all of wrestling in 2019 on his way out. It's so awesome. I love it.
It's been a hell of a year for him. And he said in an interview, like he'd rather walk away now before he gets too old and fans are like, why is this guy still around? Then, I mean, he's going out with a bang. He clearly, we want more from him, even though this is his last year. It doesn't feel like this is a guy who should be walking away because he's doing some of the best work of his career right now, at least in terms of storytelling. Like, you're right. This angle has been one of the best angles in the entire sport in 2019. It features two 50-year-old dudes. I
know. And I love the fact that, like, my man is still in really good shape, too. Because, like, when he ripped that shirt off, man, I was like, damn. I was like, he's like 54, man. And, like, you don't necessarily think he's in great shape because he's always wearing that bodysuit. And it's like every once in a while he reminds you, he's like, hey, man, he's like, I may be a 50-year-old bald brother, but I'm still good. I'm still good looking. I work out. But yeah, it's just, it was so good. Definitely the highlight of the show and tour for me, just because it was cool. And I saw people speculate on it, man, but like, I wasn't sure what we're getting because it's like, it's his last year. You don't know what he's going to want to pull out. He might just want to stay the course. I was thinking we might get like Black Liger or something, but hell no, man. I mean, turn it up to 100, brother. We're good to go. So yeah, definitely love it. So we came back down to earth, back into tag team action, Jeremy. We couldn't have Kishin Liger all night long, unfortunately. But
should have just came out and wrecked everybody for the rest of the night.
Okay, well, that would have been great, but we can't have that. Anyway, Big Tom, Yoshihashi, Will Ospreay, Sho, and Yo defeated Kenta, the Girls of Destiny, Ishimori, and El Phantasmo when Yo once again cradled Tangaloa for the win. Started slow. I thought it ended up pretty good. And 3K picking up another win over the tag team champions. Again, welcome surprise to hopefully get them in the tag mix and hopefully start just mixing and maybe just getting the damn tag team division in the one, because when you look at it, obviously they always have to bring in tag teams for the Junior Tag League coming up. And then you have World Tag League coming up, which they're going to have to use junior tag teams because they lost over half the tag teams from last year's field. So they just need to fucking unify the belts and the divisions.
World Tag League is going to be Guerrillas of Destiny against Evil and Sonata in the finals.
Don't even.
That's what it's been for like 5 straight years, I feel like. Yeah, they need to unify these tag divisions because they haven't put enough into the two respective divisions. So, I mean, really, the tag team division for the heavyweight is Guerrillas of Destiny and Evil and Sonata. And Evil and Sonata aren't even like teaming and caring about the tag division right now. They're doing singles runs. So it's literally Guerrillas of Destiny. And they're so starved for challengers. They're bringing in Roppongi, which I'm fine with. I love Roppongi. And then Super Junior, at least it's a little bit better because you have Ospreay and Eagles down there. But even Ospreay is like, he's the Super Junior champion. But even he is, kind of more a heavyweight guy now. So just combine the tag divisions. Just have one tag division. I don't know. IWGP tag team doesn't have to be heavyweight. Just IWGP tag team titles. Unify those titles and add some depth to those divisions because they suck right now.
Yeah, and this is not like a new thing anybody's talking about. I've talked about it. I know the guys at Voices of Wrestling have talked about it we've talked about it for the past few years. It's just like the tag divisions are too thin. They don't put enough time into either one to make you really care about them. There are good tag teams. Just make it one damn division and go from there. Trust me, it'll be for the better. But yep. I do like Yo picking up the win again. I thought that was good. Unfortunately, he got his ass handed to him after the match for winning.
They hating my man, Yo and Show.
They do. They were not fans. But that's okay. He got the winner's purse, Jeremy. He's going out to party.
That's true.
Moving on, Sonata, Evil, and Bushi defeated Okada, Ibushi, and Robbie Eagles just under 14 minutes via submission when Sonata got skull end on poor Robbie Eagles. This was more of the build to Okada and Sonata as well as Evil versus Ibushi for King of Pro Wrestling. I thought it was a really good match. Everybody played their role well, and it was pretty much what I expected from this six-man tag.
Yeah, Sonata getting the win makes sense. Eagles and Bushi, when you see them in this match, you know one of them is taking the fall here, the submission here. And Sonata, he's got the big title match coming up, so him getting a win here, certainly against Okada's team, certainly makes a lot of sense. It did its job as a multi-man tag match, as these matches tend to do.
Exactly. So, and they got into a little shoving match post-match, the four guys involved in the upcoming matches. So that was fine, and the crowd was into that. Moving on, Hiroki Goto defeated Shingo 20 minutes. Jeremy, via pin, your thoughts?
I thought the match was really good. Best match on the night. Not saying too much because really it only had one competition from one other match, and that was the main event. Not as good as their G1 match. And even, like we talk about it all the time, there's so much good wrestling out there that stuff has really got to stand out to make an impact. And even though this match was really good, I'd recommend it. If you got time, check it out. It's not something you're going to remember like a month from now when you've got 20 other matches that are just as good, if not better. Didn't like who won because I just don't see any future with Goto. And Shingo at least feels fresh and new. You can push him in the heavyweight division, put him in that never open weight division. Give me the book on the never open weight title. Give me the book on that. I wish Shingo had won this match. But overall, still good. Goto winning, fine, whatever.
Yeah, and obviously the Goto win was, as I was talked about on the preview, was set up for whoever won the main event for him to step up as a challenger. So the main event was Jay White defeating Tetsuya Naito 29 minutes 51 seconds via pin to become the new Intercontinental Champion, Jeremy. And obviously right away the Naito is getting buried. People were out in force.
I don't know if Naito's being buried. He's still... I mean, I told you what I think. I thought Jay White was going to win this match. And I still think Naito goes to the Tokyo Dome. They do the rematch night one. They do the big IWGP World, the heavyweight title match night two. And I think Naito walks away and is the double champion after night two of the Tokyo Dome. Could be completely wrong, but that is where I see this going. So Jay White winning, not too big of a surprise to me because I thought it was going to happen. As far as the match goes, it was fine. It was long. They've got good chemistry together, certainly. It felt like one of those New Japan main events where it's like, all right, it's the main event. We've got to go 30 minutes. And it's like, you don't have to go 30 minutes. And that was my problem with this match. Cut off 5 minutes of this match, and it's probably a much better match.
At least 5 minutes, dude. And I agree. I thought it was really good overall. I thought execution-wise and everything they were on. They do have good chemistry, but it also felt at the same time lethargic. And just too long, and I was like, yeah, you could have, you could have cut 10 minutes off of that easily, and I think it's a better match, period, and it's, yeah, I don't, again, I use the term a lot, it was too much Wyatt Earp and not enough Tombstone. I don't need Wyatt Earp's whole entire life fucking story over 18 hours. I just give a shit about him and his brothers and Doc Holliday killing fuckers in Tombstone. That's all I want. So give me the hits, you know. Sometimes a great main event can be long, man, but not... It also... I think the thing is, it loses its effect when every fucking main event has to be 27 to 35 minutes. Doesn't have to be. I would love one day for them to go in and, like, some shit happens and we get, like, a 13-minute main event. Not that anybody gets hurt. I would just love to go in there and see, like, You know, Okada goes in there with fucking Goto or somebody, and they go in some back and forth. He slips out of Ushigoroshi, hits a fucking Rainmaker, and just pins him in like 12 minutes.
I'd be fine with this. I don't need all these New Japan matches going super long and being this epic thing. I hate to say this, but it's Triple H-like in that you have to go in there and you want to, and granted the work, please don't crucify me for that comment. The work is much better than 50-year-old Triple H is doing, and I know we're going to talk about him later. It's much better than the work he is doing, but that's what it feels like. It's Triple H feels like, oh, this is my match. I got to do this 30, 40-minute match because that's what the people want. And even if it's not great, it still feels like an epic just because it's so damn long. And you don't have to do that. Like, the work can speak for itself, and you can do just 20 minutes and still have like a really great match. They're going to do this again with Okada and Sonata, and it's going to be a great match, but it's also just going to be overly long where Okada wins, and it doesn't need to be that long.
Yeah, and I do agree with the Okada-Sonata thing. That's exactly what it's going to be. And, like, they do have great matches. I enjoy them, but the other thing, too, it is going to be fucking long, because all they've done is every time they face, outside the G1 because of the time limit restraint, is that Sonata takes them deeper into the waters each time. It's like, I don't want them to take them deeper into the waters. I want them to try to end this shit in 5 minutes, please. You know, it's like, yeah, don't need them trying to have an epic every time out. And again, it's just, it means less when you do it all the time. And I don't need it all the time, and I'd rather them not doing it. I'd rather be surprised. I would love to see Okada and Sonata go 15 or 20 minutes and totally surprise me. And again, that's like you said, you know, you don't have to go long for it to be great. And the G1 shows us that, because there were a slew of fucking matches that were 13 to 17 minutes that all made my best matches of the tournament list. You don't have to go near 30 minutes for it to be great. You know, a great match can be a great match regardless of time. It's just, yeah, I get over the epics, and I've talked about it, and someone's like, well, you just don't have a good attention span. It's like, oh, fuck you. It's like, trust me, I have a great attention span. I watch a lot more than you do, okay? It's the fact that not every fucking match has to be this way. And, you know, there are people, I know Kevin on our site, Kevin gets some shit because of the way he talks about the New Japan main event formula. And they're just like, well, you just don't like Okada in great wrestling. And it's like, nowhere does he say that. He's talking about the fact that, like, for him, and I largely agree, a lot of times an Okada match, like the Sonata matches, will have that, like, 15-minute opening stretch where it has good wrestling, but absolutely nothing happens and nothing really matters. And you don't need that. And the match doesn't have to be nearly 40 minutes if you cut out a bunch of that shit. That's all he's talking about. He didn't say Okada was bad. He didn't say anybody else was bad. It's just, he's making a point. And again, I agree with him a lot of the time. We don't need epics for the sake of epics.
Remember when it was earlier this year, the Tanahashi and Omega feud, and Tanahashi was like, you don't need to watch a full Kenny Omega match. You watch the final 5 minutes, you watch the closing stretch, and you understand what the entire match is about. And I realized it was a promo, like an in-character thing where he was trying to play on the two different styles to build up his match and everything. And, you know, and Omega's like, you don't need to watch a full Tanahashi match. It's just boring as shit. They do a bunch of limb work and stuff, and then it ends. And again, they were cutting promos and whatnot, but the Tanahashi's point against Omega kind of makes sense in that I feel that way with a lot of Kenny Omega matches, and I feel that way with a lot of New Japan main events, in that, sure, some of them can tell a really good story, and I think Tanahashi's the best at this. But overall, just watch the final, like, 5-10 minute closing stretch, and you get the gist of the match, and, like, that's the great portion of the match. I mean, you just said it, like an Okada match, if it goes 30 minutes, that first 10 minutes is just largely good wrestling that ultimately doesn't matter all that much. And not to say that it's not a bigger part of the story, but sometimes it's really not. Like, I know New Japan people want to defend it and be like, well, it is. Like, everything they do is part of the larger story. It's like, It's really not, guys. They've done so well over the years to make you think that it is. It's not. They just go long for the sake of going long, and you could cut that out and you'd lose absolutely nothing in how good that match is.
Exactly. I definitely agree. So it's just, again, it's not that it was bad. It's just it didn't have to be that long is the point. So moving on, Jeremy, let's talk about Baron Corbin for a little bit.
Yeah, the best in the world. Well, he technically is, right? Shane McMahon lost to Chad Gable. He's the king of the world. Well, he's the best, too. He's the linear best in the world, because it was Shane. He lost to Gable, and then Corbin beat Gable. So if the linear best in the world title existed, Baron Corbin would be the champion. Boom. Nailed it.
All right, I can give you the linear best in the world, but I want to talk about Baron Corbin, because all of a sudden, I'm reading the most horrible takes in the world. That Baron Corbin is a great professional wrestler all of a sudden. He's a great worker. Yes. Hang on. And the best one is, he's always been great. Nobody just wanted to see it. Now, let's backtrack on here. Baron Corbin was okay in NXT. He came up to the main roster. He was okay. He cut his hair. He had a horrible stint as Constable Fuckface. He started dressing like a bartender all the time. And then he had a bad main event run with Seth Rollins. Jeremy, am I correct so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Then after his bad main event run with Seth Rollins, because he was not ready for that at all, he went away for a little bit, and he came back. Now, I am not a big Baron Corbin fan, but as I said during the King of the Ring, I thought he had a really good King of the Ring tournament. He was in his element. He was able to be a douchebag heel. He was not working overly long matches. He was not expected to carry overly long matches. He was working with good people. He held up his part of the matches. And yes, he had really good matches. Can we calm down with the Baron Corbin was having bangers week in and week out? Baron Corbin is a great worker and made Chad Gable look like a great babyface. It's like, all of a sudden, because he went away after a bad run and he came back, everybody wants to jump to an extreme. And all of a sudden, Baron Corbin is a great elite worker, and this is proof that he should get another main event shot soon. No. It's actually to the contrary, he should not. Now again, I am not trying to take away from his King of the Ring run. I thought it was a very good King of the Ring run. I thought he did really well. But the thing is he did well because he was put in a position to succeed. Something we've harped on this show numerous times. Guys need to be put in a place to succeed. That's why a lot of the NXT guys thrive in NXT. That's why takeovers tend to deliver, because these guys are put in a place where they can maximize on all of their skills and what is good. And anything that is bad about them is downplayed as much as possible. And that's what happened during this King of the Ring run. Because Paul Heyman is really good at accentuating positives and hiding negatives. He put Baron Corbin in a place to succeed. He didn't have to work overly long matches. He did not have to carry matches. He didn't have to try to be the biggest star of the match. He just had to play his role. And to his credit, he did it really well. I think Baron Corbin is the pinky-wearing douchebag king, has a lot of character potential. I also think that is his role. Mid-card heel with the occasional... There's an occasional time you can bump him up for like a title shot on TV or a B pay-per-view, but he's not your main event guy. He has a ceiling, and unless he rapidly improves, he's not going to pass that. So I think everybody needs to be a little more realistic about him, because I also see people that are like, oh, he's the drizzling shit still. And again, that's also the farthest from the fucking truth. Because he had a really good King of the Ring run, guys. Pay attention. He was not carried in every match despite the fun narrative that everybody wants to turn on this. That's not the case. But also at the same time, he has not turned into an all-time great overnight, nor has he been great his entire run. Have a little bit of perspective and keep it real. He's where he needs to be. He's where he should be. And right now, he's where he's going to thrive. And that is a strong mid-card heel. Jeremy, your thoughts?
I thought Baron Corbin's King of the Ring run was good. I think he's perfect for the role because, like we talked about in our preview, it makes sense to have a heel in this role who can just be over the top with the King gimmick, and that's what Baron Corbin will do with this. I love the pinky ring. I hope he rubs that in people's faces and makes people kiss it. I hope he makes Ricochet change his Twitter handle. And I mean, the Street Profits didn't have their crowns this week. Guess whose decision that was? As far as Baron Corbin up until this point, he was put in a bad position by being Constable Corbin. And let me correct myself. That was a good position for him. The problem was they felt the need to use him in literally every single segment. If you do that role, but only have him on television once or twice and don't have him wrestle, especially in the main event, as much as they did, he probably does very well in that role. But they used him like every quarter hour and they used him in every main event. And so people just got sick of him. And then he had the angle thing. Nobody wanted him in that role. And like that was just, he was put in an unfortunate position there because everyone wanted John Cena. And it's like, we'll put Baron Corbin there. And it's like, no one wants this fucking guy. And then he had the main event run with Seth. And again, no one wanted to see him in the main event. I think Baron Corbin is a very strong mid-carder. And I don't take that as a knock. Like, you need very strong mid-carders. And he's a guy who can, at certain points, elevate to that main event level and be the heater for the month or the 2 months or however long. The problem was they tried to do this immediately after WrestleMania when Seth is coming off this big win against Brock and you needed someone just much hotter than Baron Corbin. If Baron Corbin is coming off this King of the Ring run right after WrestleMania and Seth is coming off the Brock run, this is when you can elevate Corbin to that main event spot and people will be like, oh yeah, this could work. But instead, Corbin was coming off his Constable run and the Angle run where no one wanted him. And then you tried to elevate him. It's like, no, this fucking sucks. So I think he's been put in bad positions. I think he's been overused at certain points. But as far as his work goes, I don't mind him as a promo. I think he's good as a heel. I think he gets, for the most part, the right amount of heat. It was go away heat for a while. I think that's kind of transformed into a we don't like you kind of heat. And I think he's a good worker with the right people. And he certainly was working with the right people in the King of the Ring. And he held his own in those matches. He didn't carry anybody, but he wasn't carried in those matches either. It was like most great wrestling matches are, a 50-50 tango. So I don't have an issue with Baron Corbin. I'm not crowning him the best in the world, but I guess literally he is the best in the world. As far as opinion goes, I don't think he's the best in the world, but he's also not the worst wrestler of all time either.
Exactly, and that's the thing too, is people want to go to extremes all the time.
It's Twitter.
Well, it's not even just Twitter. It's everything, man. It's so ridiculous because all of a sudden he's the greatest, and then, like I said, you have people that are saying he's absolute shit, need to be carried. And again, farthest from the truth. I enjoyed his King of the Ring run. Thought it was good. I thought it was good because he was put in that position to succeed. This is where he needs to be right now. And you can rehab him, and you can make him into maybe a main eventer down the line. But like you said, too, coming out of Mania and stuff, nobody wanted to see him versus Seth. And it felt like it's such a downgrade for Seth as well. Because you just beat Brock Lesnar, and it's like, now you're facing off with Constable Douchebag. And nobody wanted to see that. So it's, yeah. But no, just, you can do a lot with Corbin, I think. But you have to rehab him. And you have to let him sit in this role. And to use a preparation term in cooking, you got to let the brother marinate a little bit. Let him be that really good mid-card heel. Let him be a douchebag. Let him have some good matches. Let him make people kiss his pinky ring and shit. And let him actually start getting some real heat instead of, oh Christ, Corbin's on TV heat. Because I think in this role, he's valuable and can succeed.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm looking forward to his King of the Ring run because his matches were good. He's the right character for this angle. And I think he'll do it. I like the segment on Raw with Gable. I thought he was a great dick. And then I thought Gable was really good and just destroying all this shit. So I thought that was a very good use of him. And I suspect they'll continue to use him fairly well. Like Heyman, the draft is going to shake things up. I'd imagine Corbin stays on Raw because I think Heyman does like Corbin. Corbin's talked about in the past. Like he goes to Heyman a lot for promo help and stuff. And Heyman, I think, respects a lot of that stuff on guys who come to him, and he wants to help them, and he sees something in Corbin. I think Heyman was smart to essentially keep him off television for those months after Extreme Rules, and then he comes back, he does the King of the Ring run, and he wins King of the Ring. Obviously, Vince has final say on that stuff, but Heyman has booked him in the right way since Extreme Rules. So I think he'll do fine if he stays on Raw with Heyman.
Yeah, and also that's another justification for getting guys off of TV every once in a while too. You just need to, because especially after that run with Seth, it wasn't good. He needed off of TV for a little bit. And when he came back, it was like, oh, hey, he's been gone for a little bit. Let's see what happens. And then, hey, look, a little bit of time off, a little refresh, and some better booking and putting him into a position to succeed. And he had a good run. Holy shit, look how that works, So, yeah.
I joked about this, but it kind of holds some truth of like WWE's star making system is have someone disgruntled, ask for their release, have them be away for months at a time, and then they come back and they're the hottest thing in the world. Like they did that with Sasha, they did that with Luke Harper. Like those are now two of their, I don't know if Luke Harper is like this huge star, but he's in a big main event angle. Sasha's in the big women's main event angle. Like these are people, Leo Rush is now getting a title shot in NXT. Even Rusev, we'll see how that goes. He's in maybe a dead end angle, but Baron Corbin, he got that time off. Like that is Bray Wyatt. He had all that time off, and again, they booked him smartly coming out of it, but it does give those people time to just be a little bit fresher. The only person this has never worked for is Dolph Ziggler. Poor guy. But, give these guys and girls 6 weeks off as sometimes, like after a big run. Like, just let them have 6 weeks. I think when Balor comes back, he's going to be better than ever because he's going to have this time off. He will feel missed. He will feel recharged. And as long as they book him somewhat strong, then he's going to be fine. But I think a lot of people just need just 6 weeks off after a big run. So they come back and they just feel fresh because you need that freshness feeling. And like NXT, this is what works for them when they had 1 hour is guys weren't used on every show. So guys felt fresh when they were used, even if it was like a week or two later, because we weren't seeing them every week. And that's, I get why you can't quite do that in WWE, like not use people for a full week, at least your top people, but you can certainly give people six weeks off at a time and then cycle in new people.
I've said this for years because you always have people that want to do the off-season argument. Wrestlers need an off season to rest and blah blah blah, and I get the sentiment behind that, but it's not very viable when you're running weekly TV year round. But I have been a big proponent of rotating time off, and like you sit there and you divide your roster up like your Raw roster, and you have like a sliver of 4 or 5 people. And then they're like, okay, well, starting in mid-July, we're planning to have these people off for 3 to 6 weeks. So you need to book around that. And you do that for everybody. So at some point, people get time off. And just going back to your point, it keeps people fresh. It helps things out. And it also gives other people a chance to get over. Because if you take an AJ Styles off TV for a couple weeks, who generally gets a fair amount of TV time, that is going to give other people a chance to hopefully step up and maybe they get over. And then, holy shit, hey, what do you know? Maybe we make some new stars here and there. And that's never a bad thing. So yeah, I am all for various amounts of time off, and not just like Randy Orton taking his like 3 weeks off to go bang his wife on the beach. I mean, good for brother Randy, but I mean, that's just part of his sweet deal. We're talking like everybody at various times getting time off, and it really is needed. So, but don't. Good.
You're not going to do an off season because you've got television commitments and stuff, but you can give wrestlers a break, and it's good to see that they're doing this now, and hopefully that leads to less frustrations where people are like, yeah, I kind of just want to get my release because I'm just so sick of it here. Like, give them those 6 weeks off to kind of recharge, and things. CM Punk joked about it on his interview during Starrcast. He's like, wait, you can just get time off now if you ask? Like, really? It's that simple? And it seems to be that simple nowadays. If you want to take some time off, just ask, and they don't seem to have as big of an issue with it. Like, I'm sure there's still issues, but Finn Balor just seemed like he wanted to take time off to get married, and he's got the time off. So I don't think it's a big of a deal anymore. So if guys are burnt out, they're feeling burnt out, they want to get refreshed, just ask for time off. And again, I'm probably simplifying it, and they may go to Vince every week and be like, hey, can I get a week off? And Vince is like, yeah, I don't know about that, pal. So
it's not good shit, pal. No thanks.
Yeah.
Gonna need you. I'll owe you one.
Gonna need you for this 5-second pre-tape to do.
I'm gonna need you for a pre-tape and then for the 19-day UK tour. Thanks.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully that continues to be more of a normal thing. People getting time off, but Jeremy, it is that time of year again. WWE is about to cash in on that Saudi Arabian cash when they hold Sweet Saudi Money 4 here in late October. And as we all know, one of the mainstays of these shows has become Triple H because the guy loves to wrestle still. The Prince of Saudi Arabia wants stars, and let's face it, Uncle Paul loves that big-ass paycheck, and who can blame him? And, so on these shows, he and HBK beat the Brothers of Destruction, but he's also lost to Randy Orton and John Cena. And the other day I was thinking about it, and I posted on Twitter, and I was like, who's going to cash in? Who's going to work a match with Triple H that goes way too long and under-delivers in Saudi Arabia this time around, Jeremy? And I actually have a column dropping on Monday about this, but I thought I'd go to you for some thoughts, and I'll share my list. We'll talk about this, but who do you think Triple H might be facing on these shows?
I saw your tweet, and this is on like Thursday. You tweeted it when Thursday was Kenny Omega Day, essentially, and that's who he's gonna face. Kenny Omega, cleaner, got this.
Please, Triple H would be he's a developmental guy. He'd be opening the card for him, brother.
I mean, Triple H wants the main event. Kenny Omega's your main event, always in the main event. So that's who he's gonna face. My actual pick, since I'm assuming Kenny Omega is not an option, I honestly think it's just going to be Goldberg. Like, why not Goldberg?
Fair enough. I actually have Goldberg. I have Old Willie on my list. I have a list of 5, Jeremy, and I'll hit you up with who I'm thinking here. We got Braun Strowman. Because
possible.
They've kind of teased that in the past, and Braun's in a really weird place to where they see him as a star, but like not the guy. And he gets his occasional pushes in title matches and main events, and he just hasn't had the trigger pulled on him. Plus, he can whip out that Greatest Royal Rumble big green belt defended against Triple H for the Prince.
Isn't that just the 24/7 title?
Shh. We're not telling anybody that. It kind of looks like it, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Braun makes sense. I would hope if they do that Braun wins. And it sounds like it might be a big deal, but nothing on the Saudi shows that they do is a big deal. So whatever. Triple H could honestly beat him, and no one would be like, oh, they've buried Braun. Then just be like, happened on the Saudi show. Does it really count?
Next up, depending on if he's healthy or not, I think Jeff Hardy would be a fine pick.
I like that. That's a very good throwback, honestly. So, yeah, that'd be a cool match. Be even better if they didn't go 20 minutes, but
Exactly.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, like with a lot of these matches with him, they like doing stuff that he's had feuds with already, so they can go back and raid the video vault for good video packages. So him and Jeff have a history, and yeah, I like that. I think it would be good. And then next up on my list is The Big Show. Big Show's basically retired, and he's going to do a Netflix show, but I'm sure he'd throw on the singlet and go over and make $1 million to lose to Triple H.
He most certainly would, and I would think that match would be of the short variety as well. So I'm a fan of that booking.
Hell yeah. Another one that could be short and would make sense because they have history. And this person loves to make money too. Brock Lesnar.
Brock is all about Brock is going to be the champion when this show happens. Because the show is what, October 31st
I
is
believe
the rumor.
31st.
Yeah, so I mean, assuming that Brock wins on the 4th, he's not losing the title that quickly. So yeah, Brock's going to be the champion, and that might rule that out immediately just because I know the Saudi shows don't matter, but they are going to have to push this on television, and I don't think they're going to be pushing Triple H for a world title match on television.
Oh, they most certainly can. He's Uncle Paul.
That's true. They can.
And then I had Goldberg as my final one. So I like that one simply because it could be short.
Yeah, that's the one that makes the most sense to me. I figure Goldberg wants to do, like, I know he did the Ziggler match, and that kind of got the stink of the Undertaker match off of him. I think he wants to do at least one more, probably back in Saudi to really erase that Undertaker match and doing the Triple H match. Triple H, I don't know what he feels. He's clearly comfortable losing these matches in Saudi Arabia. He lost to Orton and he lost to Cena. And I'm sure he's comfortable losing to Goldberg. And I would hope that he knows, yeah, we're not going 20 minutes out there. Let's just, do some stuff for 8 to 10 minutes, jackhammer, spear. Let's get out of here.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing is, like, the funny thing is like, WWE did not get it in Goldberg's first run with the company. And then thankfully now in the later years, they get it. Because people don't want to see Willie in fucking 20-minute epics, man. They want a version of the Goldberg match. They want something short. They want the hits. They want to see the spear and the jackhammer. They want to see Bill looking like a badass. They don't want him trying to work an epic Ric Flair style main event by any means. It's just not what people want, and nor should they try to do it, especially this late in his career. That's why the stuff with Brock worked. Like when they did that 7-minute sprint at Mania, to where they just hit all their shit, Yeah,
that match ruled.
Yeah, it was fucking great. And so it's just and I think that's what they were initially trying with that Undertaker match until he got knocked out, and then it went to shit. So it's it's just, that's all you need to do. Fucking let Triple H low blow him and pedigree him, and then Bill kick out and spear and jackhammer him, what the fuck ever. Basically do the Warrior match at WrestleMania 12.
You should do the Warrior match at Halloween Havoc 98.
Oh, Jesus, Jeremy. I have to review this,
Are you reviewing Halloween Havoc 98?
No, I'm talking about the damn Saudi show.
Oh, I got to do the podcast with you. Although I'm going to miss that show live. So, yeah, I'm not going to be able to watch that show live.
Fine.
Sorry, look, I'm going to a drag show that night, all right? And it's Halloween, so it's going to be a really fun night. I don't have time to be watching fucking Triple H and his 20-minute epics and these house show Saudi Arabia events.
Fair enough, but that show's on in the middle of the day, so it's not on at night. Nice try.
I will be able to watch part of it live. I don't think I will be able to watch all of it live, and I definitely will not be able to record right after it.
I know. No, it'll be fun. We'll figure it out. But yeah, that's supposed to be coming on the 31st. So that's who we're kind of thinking for Triple H. If you guys have any ideas, drop them in the comments section. And again, I never promised they were going to be good or great matches. I'm just talking about stuff that might happen, and judging by history and people that like to make money. And that's what the Saudi show is all about. The company bringing in $50 million and guys getting big paydays to go and do one match. And That's like I said, I could see Big Show definitely rolling over there and doing a match for $1 million and going back and doing his Netflix show and having a good time. So
Kenny Omega.
There you go. So that'll bring us to the final thing we are going to talk about, Jeremy. Your absolute favorite, but in all honesty, it is a good card on paper. ROH Death Before Dishonor 2019. ROH returning to pay-per-view Friday night. And it is a really good card, honestly. Will anybody watching care? That is another question. But
I'm going to play a game right now, Larry.
Okay.
I take a pill every night that helps me sleep. I'm going to take this pill right now, and let's see if I can stay awake for this review.
That is horrible radio, Jeremy. Why would you do
that? The card is good on paper. We're going to talk about the greatest angle in the world that's apparently going nowhere. And I think we're going to see if Roosh can save this company.
That's right. So we'll start off on the pre-show. Jeff Cobb versus Brody King. And hey, if you're going to put on a pre-show match that is going to be good and hopefully get people to tune in, this is a good choice because both guys are really good. They've worked a lot in the SoCal indie scene. Jeff Cobb is ready for a title shot in the UK, so Jeff Cobb should win. Should be a really good match, though.
I like this match. It's a shame it's on the pre-show. Bump the Women of Honor match. Sorry. Not sorry.
Okay, if you put the Women of Honor on the pre-show, who's going to buy the pay-per-view after watching that?
Who's going to buy this pay-per-view regardless?
Okay, that is a kind of fair point. But seriously, if you want people to buy it, you can't put Angelina Love and Kelly Klein out there.
Does this show do more or less buys than AAA invading New York?
Oof. I'd like to say more, man, but
I think it does more, but
yeah, it's rough.
How much more. It might do 62 instead of 60. Matt Taven's got a lot of family members, right?
Allegedly.
I like this match. I think it'll be really good. Cobb rules. Brody King rules. Cobb winning makes the most sense here because he does have the title shot. But strong pre-show match. It's kind of weird they're putting the main event on the pre-show.
There you go. Moving on to the main card, we have a barroom brawl between the Bouncers and Silas Young and Vinny Marseglia. This is coming out of the Global Wars Spectacular tour, where in Milwaukee, Vinny Marseglia went nuts and beat the shit out of the Bruiser with a turnbuckle and busted his mouth and teeth up. And Silas was part of that beatdown because TK O'Ryan is still out of action due to post-concussion issues. So they're going to have a barroom brawl, Jeremy. So anything goes. Lots of smoke and mirrors. Cover it up. Your thoughts.
Should be a fun little wild brawl. I imagine they'll use like a bunch of beer stuff. Maybe that fan in the front row will be asleep again and they'll take his beer and toss that on.
Maybe they'll use the fan.
Yeah. It'll be a fine garbage brawl. I don't know how over the top they'll get. I hope it's like, remember when APA used to do, they should actually have this barroom brawl in a barroom. Like, you ever play, I guess it was No Mercy. It might have been WrestleMania 2000. It was definitely one of those games though. And it probably happened in some of the SmackDown games. You go backstage and you actually could have like a match in a bar room with like the pool table and the pool cue and stuff like that. They should just do that. Just go to film this at an actual bar.
I'd be perfectly fine with that.
I do think, wasn't there a match APA did where I think they did film stuff
they used
in
to
a bar.
film stuff at the Friendly Tap, Tim White's bar, all the time.
Yeah, but they had a match as well, like at ringside, but it was like a bar set up.
Yeah, they set up a bar by the stage. Yeah,
right. So they should do something like that. I think that would be awesome. They're probably not going to do it.
Probably not, but I would be all for it. I mean, I actually love that idea.
Put me on the booking team, Lizard Man.
That's right. I don't know. Bully Ray might yell at you for yelling at the Women of Honor and being mean to them.
I'm not yelling at them. I don't have anything to say about them.
Fair enough. Next up, this should be really good. I'll go to you first. Jonathan Gresham versus Jay Lethal.
Cannot wait for this match. They've got a good story with Gresham and his heel turn. Gresham rules. Jay Lethal rules. Gresham might win Battle of Los Angeles. They're literally it's going on right now, and I think he's still alive in it. So he's in the finals, maybe. So trying to keep up. Yeah, should be a strong match though, because they both rule, and I think Gresham's going to win because Lethal, he doesn't have to win everything, and Gresham with his heel turn, I don't think you can beat him right out of the gate here.
Yeah, I love this match. They have a great history because they had the. It started out to where they were, facing when Jay Lethal was world champion out of respect, and then they eventually became like a tag team for a while. And Jay Lethal just wanted Gresham to be a good wrestle lad and be fair play Yano basically all the time. And unfortunately, Gresham started to become disenfranchised with everything, the way ROH was treating him, and started cheating and being an asshole, and that led to the split with Lethal, who has basically been kind of a mentor with him throughout. So I like how they built to that. I think it's made sense. They've had great matches in the past. So I am looking forward to this one. It'll be interesting because this one's going to have a much different tone because Gresham is the heel now. And I like that though, because it should, they've had great matches, but I mean, it's always good for it to be different. And I like that. It's a little more personal now. Lethal, the winner is like really weird because Lethal is in the number one contenders tournament and has a match the next night. But again, Gresham is just freshly turned heel, and he has a match coming up with Alex Shelley. So it's like, overall, Lethal has enough credibility built up. I think he can afford the loss, and I think Gresham really needs it to move forward. Plus, there have been light rumors that Lethal is one of the guys with a contract ending at the end of the year. Like a lot of guys.
Good on Jay Lethal. Get paid, Jay Lethal. And please, I don't know if he'll leave, but I hope he does. Gresham is in the finals of Bola, by the way. I don't know if that'll finish by the time we get done recording, but he is in the finals for those keeping track. Get paid, Jay Lethal. I think Gresham still wins this match.
Yeah, I hope he does. I really think he should. Because I think, like I said, Lethal has enough credibility. He can take the loss. It's not going to hurt him. And speaking of the number one contenders title tournament deal, first round matchup, PCO versus Kenny King, Jeremy.
God, PCO wins. Just end this whole Kenny King thing.
See, that's the problem, Jeremy. They're not going to end the whole Kenny King thing. They think they can make Kenny King a star.
Kenny King is much older than anybody thinks. How old is Kenny King, Larry?
Fuck if I know. I'll look it up.
I'm going to look this up. Anyway, Kenny King is friggin'... I was using him he's 38, by the way. So there you go. He's not some young guy. He's 38. PCO isn't young either. PCO feels younger and fresher than Kenny King, though. So think about that for a second. PCO should win. I agree with you. Kenny King will probably win because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they keep trying to make Kenny King a guy, and they think he's a star, and he's just... The best way to put it is Kenny King is the best of what's left. He was around when all the big important names were in ROH and all the stars were there. And he's still there because everybody else moved on. And he occasionally has a good to really great match. Like when he had a great match like last year or 2 years ago with Kushida. And then like every once in a while he churns something else out that's worth watching. But they think he's a big star and he's just really not. He's a guy. He's a role player. He's not your main guy.
He's Matt Taven.
I don't know if we have to get that personal about it, but I mean that's a little harsh, Jeremy. But so anyway, we have another tournament match: Marty Scurll versus Colt Cabana.
Scurll should win. I don't know if he's going to. I don't have any faith in what this company does with Marty Scurll. I think any storyline they do would be better with Marty Scurll. I mean, we've beaten the Marty Scurll thing to death by now. Scurll will at least win this match. I don't know if he's going any further than that, but he'll at least win this match. Should be okay. The crowd loves Scurll. Cabana, they love Cabana too when he does his gimmick. Both guys can go, but I wouldn't suspect it'll be anything more than just like average. Maybe a little above average, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, I think it can be good, and yeah, Marty's always over, Colt's over. Should be good, and Marty should win. They gave Colt the win on the Spectacular Tour to heat him up a little bit, which made sense. So Marty should win here to move on. Just makes sense to me, especially how I have the tournament booked out in my head. Moving on to your favorite, the Women of Honor, Jeremy. Kelly Klein defending against Angelina Love.
Nope.
It's I hate coming across so rude about it, but it's like, with all due respect, the Women of Honor division has just been trash for a long time. I cannot recall the last time they put on something enjoyable or that I would even consider good. I hope that they can fix that. I hope that this is good. I have no faith that it will be. They have been teasing this match and possible title change since the G1 Supercard, and I expect Angelina Love to win and the Allure to keep being the Allure, and yay! So there you go.
Okay.
Big Angle time, Jeremy. Your favorite ROH TV champion, the best in the world, Shane Taylor versus Tracy Williams versus Flip Gordon. I will go to you first because I know you want to talk about this angle.
We talked about the angle on the last show, so I don't have too much more to add other than Shane Taylor, I guess, has agreed to do this match. So cool. Like, why? I don't get it. Like, he's been released from his contract, so why not just like take the title and be like, fuck y'all? This angle is so dumb. It's really, really dumb. I think Shane Taylor actually wins, and to keep up the appearances of this angle, because what if he loses? Then it's just like, all right, we release this guy, go do Shane Taylor promotions, and then what are you hoping to gain out of that? This is such a dumb angle.
It really is. First of all, the match made absolutely no sense going into the pay-per-view because Williams and Flip were not properly positioned for a title match, and he had already beat Tracy Williams. And then there's the fact that this match contains two of the worst ROH booking tropes in the world, which is the worked shoot and the employee that's disenfranchised with management and wants to leave. They never come off well, they never work, they never deliver. They're desperately trying to get attention with the whole contract buyout bullshit. It doesn't work, it makes no sense. Why wouldn't you just strip Taylor of the title if you're buying out his contract and do Tracy and Flip for the title? So yeah, I hate this. It's sad because I really like Shane Taylor. The match might be good, but Shane's going to win. But I have no faith in ROH and their storytelling and management to actually make this work on any level.
I think the match will be fine. Like, all three of these guys are good. It's just they're trying to tell stories, brother, and this is a terrible story.
Yeah, definitely not good at all. So, moving on to something that should be really good. ROH Tag Team Champions, the Briscoes versus Lifebloods, Bandito and Mark Haskins, Jeremy. Fired up for this one. I think this will probably be up there with Lethal and Gresham. Those should be the top two matches on the show, I think, from an in-ring standpoint. The Briscoes, we've talked about so many times. ROH legends. They're fucking great. They deliver all the time. They even dragged back-to-back great matches out of the fucking Gorillas of Destiny, so what does that tell you? And Lifeblood has been one of the more consistent acts overall, despite not great booking in ROH. They always deliver in the ring. I don't see a title change, but I think they will have a really great match probably, and hopefully we're wrong and they throw us a curveball and we do get a title change, because that would really shock me, actually, because I don't see that happening.
I could see a title change here. It's not like 50-50. I think it's more maybe 20%, but I'm not completely like, there's no way it's going to happen. I do think the Briscoes will win. Lifeblood could really use these titles, though, just because they could use anything right now. This stable, like, they're Lifeblood, so theoretically they should feel like fresh and new and exciting. And it's just guys thrown together with no real direction, and losing Juice completely just ruined that for them. And they never really replaced him. So it's just, they don't have a leader. They're just a bunch of guys and they're there. I could see them winning. I do think the Briscoes will win. Really looking forward to this match because it's 4 strong workers. And Yeah, they'll get time because it's a tag team title match as well. Match should be great. Probably match of the night. I'm with you that Lethal and Gresham, about the only thing that's going to challenge that. And I think Lethal and Gresham might lean a little bit more heavier on story than it may need to. Whereas this match will just be four guys going out there and to just try to put on the best match.
Yeah, and sometimes that's all I need is just four dudes busting their ass to fucking have a great match. So I am excited for this one. And now we move on to our main event of the evening, Jeremy. ROH World Champion Matt Taven versus Roosh. I go to you first.
Roosh should win. That should be the easiest call. He should do it in about 3 seconds. I guess he needs longer than that to hit his finish and then the count and everything. Should do it in about 10 seconds, and that should be that. It's going to be long, maybe even overly long. I do think Roosh will win. I don't know what Taven's contract situation is. It's reported that it's up in September, and if he loses, it's going to feel that he hasn't, as of this recording, he's not reportedly re-signed. And maybe he has re-signed and no one cares about ROH, so it just hasn't been reported yet. But as of right now, he is not reportedly re-signed. So if he loses, that'll add more fuel that he hasn't re-signed. If he wins, it's a damn good chance, if it doesn't come out during this week, that he's re-signed, that he is definitely re-signed, unless they're trying to do this another stupid their trope of Summer of Punk, which worked because it was CM Punk, and damn sure ain't working the fall of Taven. In a way, it sort of makes sense, the fall of Taven, the fall of this company by using Matt Taven as their world champion. Roosh should win.
Yeah, okay. So before I kind of get into full Matt Taven burial mode, I do want to say that the match does have a good history behind it with their work in CMLL. It's been slowly built to since Roosh's ROH debut. It's a match that makes sense. It needed to happen. But again, so did the Volador versus Matt Taven match, which came off cold as ice. And you know what? Everybody wants to tell me things are fine, but they drew about 500 or 600 people in Chicago when they used to draw 17 to 2,000. And that is with a world title match that had a ton of history and a year of build. So everything is not okay with Matt Taven as champion. Roosh has been booked extremely well. He's been treated like a top guy, hasn't been pinned or submitted. Pretty much feels like the biggest star in the company. And if we're being honest, Matt Taven as the ROH champion has been a failure. And an even bigger blunder considering the whole contract stuff what Jeremy just talked about, because the whole thing was he's only champion because Marty's contract runs out in the fall. And here, fuckface Mick, whatever his Climax here, his contract is actually up before Marty's. So that shit doesn't even hold water anymore. Again, Marty could have led to better attendance, better interest. Matt Taven's been fine in the ring, but absolutely nobody cares. He doesn't put on matches worthy of the main event, worthy of being the top guy in the promotion. Interest and attendance have been in the free fall. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Roosh should win here. Win with ease, win dominantly, and that they should move on. If it doesn't make dollars, Jeremy, it doesn't make sense, right? And that's the current state of ROH with Matt Taven as the champion. But despite the fact that all signs point to needing to move on him from champion, I'm sure that Bully Ray and the fucking Lizard Man are going to be cowards here and refuse to make the move. Because they're going to claim that Matt Taven's a real heel that gets real heat in 2019. Which is a bunch of bullshit. He's champion because, like Kenny King, he's the best of what's left in Ring of Honor. The Honor Club girls go crazy for him on the Twitter machine. He amuses middle schoolers with juvenile names for his moves, like the Climax and Just a Tip. It's like when I was 7 years old and I had this friend who knew like all the naughty words. And like we'd be in the middle of class and the teacher would go into the storage room to get something. And he'd sit there and he'd look at us and go, "Titties!" And we'd all laugh because we were fucking 7 and it was funny. And then he'd do it again and it wasn't funny because we had already heard it once. That's kind of Matt Taven. But unfortunately, his title run isn't even funny anymore. It's just fucking sad. like the overall decline in ROH business status and quality in 2019. Take the title off of this motherfucker. Put it on Roosh. I don't even know if you can save the goddamn company at this point, but you have to make a move. You have to have you have to try. And honestly, compared to Matt Taven, Roosh is the best hope.
Yeah. I don't have much more to add. Like, we've buried Matt Taven so much on this show that it's fruitless at this point. He's in China. We've dug the hole so deep for him. I don't know if Roosh can save the company at this point. I think it's better. It's clearly better if they go with him over Taven. If you go with Taven, you know what you're getting. You're not only staying with a course that is only leading downward, you've effectively killed off the hottest guy you have in the company at his hottest point. I mean, okay, you can go to Roosh during at Final Battle, but like, this is his hot point. If you go to him at Final Battle, he's not going to be hotter than he is right now. And they're doing that tournament for Final Battle anyway, so I don't even know if you could do that, but it's wrestling. You could do a 3-way or some shit. Either way, this is the time to pull the trigger on Roosh. He has an uphill battle if they do pull the trigger with him to try to, save this company. I think Roosh's contract is up at the end of the year. I think he only signed a 1-year deal anyway. WWE is going to be looking to him. I think this is honestly, if they go with Matt Taven, I don't think we're talking about ROH next year. At least not in their own entity. That is my bold prediction. If Matt Taven retains the title here, a year from now, ROH is on the WWE network.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good. They need to do something. They need to make widespread changes, and it has to start up top because, I'm sorry, Matt Taven just didn't doing it. And don't give me that shit again that, well, like people were claiming, like I brought up like the ticket sales, and they're like, well, MLW doesn't do that good. MLW's been selling 2,000 fucking seats in Chicago. And then again, somebody tried to tell me, well, that's because they use Lucha Stars. Well, what the fuck was the Spectacular Tour? You can't, like, that makes no sense, okay? There's an obvious decline. Ticket sales have gone back to pretty much pre-Bullet Club, pre-New Japan averages. And that's sad. That is pathetic. And yes, you can blame a lot of that on SCU and the Elite guys leaving. But you also have to blame it on ROH not taking the proper steps and not making the right choices. Like Jeremy said, I don't know if Roosh can save the day. I don't know if he's the guy. I don't know if he's the star. But he's been booked like a star and treated like a star, and he feels like way more of an interesting guy than Matt Taven. So, I mean, and you know what? Maybe he only holds it until Final Battle because of contract stuff. I don't know. But you got to do something. You got to make a change. You can't be a fucking coward here because business is only going to go down. I don't know if you've seen, Jeremy. People have been putting up pictures of the ticket sales for this UK shows coming up. Those look fucking dreadful.
Nobody's going to these shows. Nobody is going to these shows, and no one will go to these shows, honestly. It said a lot that this is also a reflection on Matt Taven's run, that the Volador Jr. match should have been one of his bigger matches because there was a good story behind it, and they didn't even feel like they could main event with that match.
Yeah.
Like it not only didn't sell, because nothing ROH does is selling at this point, but they as a company felt, we can't even main event with this match. And they didn't main event the Alex Shelley match didn't main event either, did it? The GOD and Briscoe's ladder war
correct
main evented over that.
But
so
both indictments against his title run.
Yeah, like they don't even feel like they can main event with this guy. And I'm not saying the world title has to be the main event on every single show, because if you build up your world title enough.
But that fucking Volador match had a year build.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Like the ladder war, okay. Maybe you can main event that over Shelley and Taven. The Volador match, that's got to be the main event, because what main evented over that? Briscoes and who?
I think that was a 6-man with Lifeblood and Villain Enterprises.
Okay, well, either way, the Volador and Taven should have definitely been the main event over that. So it's not good. They're not going to be selling anything. They can put the title on Rouge. It'll help a little bit because I'm not sure. I mean, it can get worse, but I'm not sure it can get worse right now if you make this title change. But they're so cold as a company right now. Just ice cold. Like Impact has more going, and granted, Impact had to buy a television station to get more going, but ROH is just ice cold as a company right now. Their shows aren't doing well. It's just no one cares about anything, and this show's coming at a bad time too. Honestly, everything from the time we're recording this to October 1st feels meaningless in wrestling. Because once October 1st hits, then everything changes. Like then you're getting, October 1st is actually a meaningless day because it's some random ass Tuesday, the first Tuesday without SmackDown in however long. But once that day hits, then you got October 2nd with AEW debuting and NXT going 2 hours on USA with both hours on USA. Then you got October 4th with SmackDown. Then you got the draft. October is just off to the races. So everything just feels ice cold until October. And unfortunately for ROH, even Impact going to Access is at the end of October, and Bound for Glory is their big pay-per-view and stuff. Unfortunately for ROH, one of their bigger shows, because Death Before Dishonor is one of their bigger shows and it is a good card on paper, it just feels ice cold because everything in the wrestling world just feels like it's on pause until October.
Yeah. And again, I wish I had like an easy solution for them, but I'll tell you what. First of all, they need to start this weekend. They need to have a really good pay-per-view. They need to change the title off of Taven and put it on Rouge. And then I don't know what exactly the angle would be, but they need to try to shoot some kind of hot angle that gets people talking a little bit. And these things together even aren't going to fix the problems, but they would be a start. Because if you have a really good show with a big title change and maybe a hot angle, you can get some people talking. And maybe it won't feel ice cold, and maybe it will feel a little more important. But that is just like the beginning, though. There has to be so much done to turn this around. It's like we talk about like ratings and stuff. You can't expect ratings to turn around in 1 week because whatever the ratings of a show are, like a long-lasting show like a Raw or a SmackDown are a product of time. And you can't just undo it in a week or two. So the ROH thing, if it gets turned around, is going to take a lot of time. They can start it this weekend. I don't know if it's too late or not, Jeremy. It might be all for naught, but you got to at least try. And, I mean, at least I think so. So we'll see what happens, but like you said and I said, it's a good card on paper. It'll probably be a really good show. Whether anybody watches or actually cares is a completely different matter.
You do need a title change, certainly helps, but we've seen with Impact, like you can have a really great show, and these Impact shows, a lot of their pay-per-views are like good to great, and it doesn't matter in the end because, I mean, for them it was visibility, but ROH has the same visibility problem. No one knows when these fucking shows are on. So you need something. I think a hot angle is more important than a title change here, because you can do a title change and Rush will feel like a semi big deal, but he just has the ROH stigma on him for right now, to where it's like, okay, he won, cool. Like, he'll face Cobb, like that's cool, but nothing in ROH feels that big right now. But if you do a hot angle that gets people talking, then it means more. Like a title change is a start. You need something to go along with it, and I agree with you. A hot angle would certainly do that. I don't know what they can do though. Like they tried shooting, like they tried shooting the Enzo and Cass nonsense, and that went nowhere. That's obviously not the right thing to do. This Shane Taylor thing is not the hot angle, and for some reason I have a feeling that's what they think their hot angle is Shane Taylor wins, and it's like, oh, what's he gonna do with the television title when he's not under contract and stuff. I think that's what they think their hot angle is, and it's not.
It isn't. It really isn't. But yeah, I think if you can have that, if you can have a great show, a title change, and a hot angle, and again, I have no clue what the hell it would be. I mean, you'd have to get something.
CM
really
Punk.
big. Yeah, there you go. CM Punk comes in and takes out Shane Taylor and restores honor to the television title. That's right. I'm sure somebody's going to report that as news that we said it too. Good job, Jeremy.
Ringside News is definitely taking that one up.
So again, I mean, I'm hoping for the best. I mean, we're not trying to sound like total downers. We want ROH to turn around because, again, this card is good. There's a lot of good people there, but there's also a lot of damage that has to be undone. So we'll see what happens. I will, of course, have live coverage of the pay-per-view Friday night on the website, and Jeremy and I will be back at some point over the weekend to talk about it. So, again, you're listening to the 411 on Wrestling Podcast. You can follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and, of course, the 411mania.com website. Please make sure to subscribe to our show, share us around on social media. If you have time, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Jeremy, thank you for your time, brother.
Yeah, we'll not be back on Friday night. You wanted me to watch the show live and record right afterwards. What is wrong with you, my friend?
I did, because if you loved me, you would.
Well, I don't love you that much. I'm sorry.
Obviously not.
I love my Friday night freedom and going out to dinner with my wife a little bit more than you. Sorry, buddy.
All right, well, we'll figure it out going forward. So anyway, thank you guys, and have a good week.